Welcome to sportsbookreview.com. I'm Flash, and this is La Liga Week 1. We've only got 14 sides going to be taking part this week, and we've got to wait till week 3 before every single team is back in action. Some say it's sensible, some saying it's just going to start with a little bit of a whimper. I've got Euan from La Liga Lowdown and Martin from the UK. From Premier League, from his articles. That gives me a nice little link in to say, if you like this video, then please subscribe, press the button, ring the bell. Ring the bell means that we'll notify you. We need you to subscribe because then we can make sure that you never miss any of our content again. And if you press the link in the description, that will take you over to Martin, Dave, Tancredi and Alex's soccer articles. You do not want to miss them. Now, Euan, I'm going to come to you straight away. It doesn't seem like maybe a week or two since we last saw you. How's things in Spain?
Yeah, you're right. The season just finished, and here we go again. And that's partly why we don't have all the teams playing this first weekend, because some of them were playing in the Champions League and the Europa League. Even Elche, who came up through the promotion playoffs, they only got promoted on August 23rd, just a few weeks away, 19 days ago, I think. So they've been given a few extra weeks before they have to come back. So gradually they'll come back. Real Madrid and Getafe coming back next week. The other 4 teams, Barcelona, Sevilla, Atletico and Elche, they won't be back until match day 3. So yeah, that's why we've only got 7 fixtures this weekend. But from my point of view, I think a lot of value in these 7 fixtures, even if the big teams, the big stars aren't there.
Yeah, we're going to look to obviously beat up on some sides, follow others. You and I'm going to stay with you because you mentioned these sides who only Sevilla went deep into European competition for me. And then we've got Bayern Munich, who are champions of Europe, and they kick off their league next week, week 1.
Yeah, that's true. Sevilla's the only one that really went. So yeah, I'm sure Barcelona and Atletico and the like could have played. Barcelona actually have a friendly on Saturday. They will be playing, just not competitively. So you could make the case that they should be ready by now. But then, of course, Messi only came back to training, group training on Thursday. So Barcelona probably glad for that extra couple of weeks. But I'm sure they could have played. If not this weekend, they could have all surely come back for match day 2. But it won't be till match day 3 towards the end of September, where we get to have a full complement of fixtures, all 10 games taking place on the same weekend.
Has the dust settled on the Messi theory?
I think so, because, well, he can't leave. He wanted to leave. He has admitted he wanted to leave, but he's been held hostage at least for another year. So the biggest story, I think, in football of the year almost, and it's a non-story because we're exactly where we were when we started. Messi's a Barcelona player for 2020-21. And we'll see what happens next summer if he then decides to go, or maybe just by the act of staying, he decides he loves it. Remember, that's what happened with Neymar last summer. He wanted to leave PSG. Now he seems happy in Paris and looks like he's going to stay. So maybe the same will happen with Messi. We'll see.
Mine, if it's not Messi, then it's Suarez being linked with a number of clubs. Maybe the Premier League, but Juve, they've been sniffing around. Do you expect him to see the season out at Barca?
Well, I think the first thing that Ronald Koeman did when he arrived at the club was to tell Suarez that he's surplus to requirements.
Which is crazy, yeah?
It is for me because, he's still a top player. He was one of their only bright lights in that 8-2 drubbing at the hands of Bayern Munich. He turned his man, finished it in the bottom corner. You couldn't really ask for more for him. It was the rest of the team that was the problem for me, overrun in midfield. But I think the issue that Barcelona have is that they spend about 70% of their income on player wages, and far too many of their players are overpaid, over the hill, and aging. So he needs to move on some players, and sadly it fell upon Suarez to be ousted. I think he probably will go. That probably upset Messi even further because I think he's Messi's best friend at the club. But yeah, he'll be well off out of there. I think if he goes to Juventus, that'll be a pretty good move for him. The golden oldies, he'll link up with Ronaldo, but I still think he can tear things up in Serie A. The main problem for me for Barcelona is still that midfield. Bringing in Pjanic for Arthur doesn't really bring down the average age, but he does bring a bit of creativity, I guess, from deep. I still just feel that they're going to be in. They're going to struggle a bit this season. They haven't managed to move on Jordi Alba or Sergio Busquets yet, so it's going to be a lot of the veterans. They're going to have to turn to them one last time. But a team like Real Madrid seem to have more energy than them in the middle of the park.
Yeah, and your up-and-coming boys on the block is obviously Sevilla, and obviously you know what you're going to get from Atletico Madrid. The big thing with Barcelona, I think that they've lost their fear factor, and they're going to need a massive overhaul over the next 12 or 24 months. Now, let's go straight into week one. I'm going to start with you, Euan. We've got Eibar at plus 260, the draw at plus 230, and we've got Celta Vigo at plus 200.
Yeah, I mean, this is an interesting one because Eibar, I do worry a little bit for them this season. Maybe this is a year they go down, but I'm really confident about this weekend because they're playing a Celta Vigo side. They could use another couple of weeks to get ready because they're not ready at all. The coach, Oscar Garcia, was saying in his press conference earlier today that he thinks they still need 5 or 6 players. One of the signings they have made, Renato Tapia, they only registered them today. So I don't know what they've been doing. It is a short summer, but Celta Vigo caught sleeping a little bit. The squad just isn't ready. They have holes all over the place. Their 2 starting goalkeepers, Ruben and Sergio, the first and second choice, both got injured towards the end of last season. They haven't signed a goalkeeper yet, so the young Ivan Villar, he's going to be between the sticks for this one. So Eibar, on the other hand, I do think they're going to struggle over the season, but the squad is settled. They've lost a couple of players. Fabian Orellana, he was really good. He's left, but they've replaced him. And in the middle as well, Escalante went, but they've replaced him like for like changes. So I think the squad is settled. Eibar, they've got Mendilibar as coach after Simeone. He's the coach who's been with his club the longest in La Liga. He's been there 5 years now. So Eibar a lot more settled at home. I really like them for this game because I think Celta Vigo will finish above Eibar this season. But Celta Vigo, they just aren't ready to play this weekend, in my opinion.
Martin, if we're going to go with Eibar, and if Eibar are going to have a successful season, which means that they're just going to be making sure that they keep with La Liga Primera status, then they're going to have to get off to a good start. And at plus 260 at home for the first game, it looks like value, and it even may be the double chance.
Yeah, it's not exactly a blockbuster clash to start the season with. I think we had Barcelona at Athletic Bilbao last season, which kind of is more likely to generate headlines around the world. But it should be a good game. I feel like these are 2 teams that like to go forward. So I was looking at both teams to score. But then I looked through the recent head-to-heads and both teams never score when these 2 play each other. So I quickly put a line through that one. Yeah, I also feel that these will be 2 teams competing at the bottom half of the table this season. I think Celta Vigo have a bit more firepower, so they could be end up finishing above Eibar. I'm just not quite sure what I'm going to get from them yet. I know they're normally pretty good at home with the stadium rocking and the home fans behind them. Not quite sure what we're going to get in the early weeks of the season, so going to pass this one.
Okay, just remember you're the third guest, so make sure you write your little bits in there. Give us some tips, give us your bankers, and Martin, you engage with them because I'm not getting it up on my screen. And obviously, if they've got any questions for you, and then you can fire them across. I'm going to come to you though, you Martin. Have you got your speakers up, Martin?
I'll go and have a look on. I'll go and have a look on YouTube.
When you say go and have a look, you're not going to leave though, are you?
No. I'll still be here. Be here.
I mean, that's putting an extra few people on the chat. By the way, put your thumbs up for these boys. Give them a little bit of appreciation. It helps when I have to go in and fight the case to have a La Liga program. Now, Granada plus 190, draw plus 210, Martin, and Bilbao at plus 180. Tough game this because Granada, they get their points at home.
Yeah, this is a pretty tough game for Athletic Bilbao. I wasn't going to bet on this one. I kind of overlooked it, but then I went back to it and I just thought Granada had a very good season last time around. I'm probably not expecting them to finish quite so high up the table this season, but they've made a couple of interesting signings in the summer, and I think that'll freshen the place up a bit. They are good at home, and I think they can make a winning start to the campaign. Problem with Athletic Bilbao is they just don't have a big recruitment pool. They can only sign Basque players. So it's pretty much as you were from last season. I think they could be a little bit stale. I'm leaning towards Granada for this game. And my bet is going to be Granada draw no bet. You can get odds of 1.91 on that, which is minus 110 in US odds. I think that looks like a worthwhile punt to get me started for the La Liga season.
You and I like Bilbao. I thought they showed energy, togetherness, and their confidence grew. And I think it grew when they had that 0-0 draw with their with Atletico Madrid. I think that they actually thought, hang on a minute, we can compete, but we can only compete when we've got our full side out.
Yeah, Athletic is so difficult to predict because they finished last season so poorly. They did well. They had a good run after the restart, and then they finished so poorly. And actually, the last game of the season was this fixture. And on the final match day of last season, we had Granada versus Athletic. It was 4-0 to Granada. So I'm not sure if Athletic have turned things around quite as much, but we do have to remember in that game, Athletic had nothing to play for, and Granada were playing for Europe. So keep that in mind. The other thing to keep in mind with this one is Granada's European campaign gets underway on Thursday. They're away in Albania, and the way it's working this year with the qualifiers, just one leg. So Granada in Europe for the first time, they won't want it to end after one match in Albania. They want to keep it going a bit longer. So they might just have an eye on that one, because as much as they want to get off to a good start in La Liga, like everybody, they'll know that the European game is the game of their club's life almost. It's the biggest game in their history. So just keep that in mind when betting on this one, because Granada in 5 days' time have a huge fixture in Albania.
Euan, is it still Scorchio in Granada at this time of year?
It is, and this is it's expected to be a warm one there.
I'll bet.
So it's supposed to be played on Friday night. It was supposed to get us underway on Friday night, but it's been moved to Saturday because of a bit of a conflict between La Liga and the Federation. The Federation, they don't want games on Friday nights or Monday nights. It doesn't make sense to me because fans can't go anyway. So for match-going fans, it doesn't really make a difference. But yeah, for that reason, it's been moved to Saturday and an earlier kickoff time than was planned. So yeah, a lot of sweat. We might see a bit of a couple of cooling breaks in this one. The famous cooling breaks will be back.
Yeah, and it's 3 subs, not 5 subs this year in La Liga.
This is the thing. It is going to be 5 subs in the end.
Oh, it is now, because they said they keep chopping and changing, eh?
Well, this is the thing. It's been back and forth all week. It was going to be 3 subs, but then the clubs requested 5 substitutions, still to be 100% confirmed whether it's going to be 3 or 5 subs. But it's now looking much more like we'll have 5 subs instead of 3. So again, that benefits the clubs with a lot of depth.
Yeah, well, Granada are obviously going to be playing in Europe next week. So I look at that as a former player and think, okay, the players want to be involved in probably the biggest game in the club's recent history, or they're going to look after themselves and make sure they don't miss it through injury. So if you're going to go with Granada, you pay your money, you take your choice. I mean, draw no bet at 1.91, which is minus 110 from Martin, and Euan firmly sitting on the fence now, Martin. Euan, we've got newcomers, Cadiz at plus 190, draw plus 210, and Osasuna at plus 185. Osasuna at plus 185 does jump out, but then beware.
Yeah, beware, because they've just lost their star player, Chimi Avila. He was so great last season that I think everybody, neutrals, everybody in La Liga loved this guy. Argentine striker who just loved to scrap. He ran about there like the Tasmanian devil up front for Osasuna. But then he did his ACL in one knee in January. He's come back. He was ready to go, and he's done the ACL in the other knee. It's such a shame.
That all happens so often, Euan. So often that when you obviously you have that big injury, you overcompensate. Your biomechanics change. I know so many teammates that's happened to. You do the left, you come back, you work so hard on building up that left leg. The right then goes because it's obviously a little bit weaker and it's been taking too much of the strain. Sorry, Euan.
Yeah, you're right, Plash. That's exactly what's happened in this case. And that's why you have to worry a bit about Osasuna, not just in this game, but the whole season, because he was our star player by a mile. So Osasuna had a good first year when they came up last year, finished 10th, but I really expect them to be down the bottom fighting against the likes of Cadiz, who's just come up. So Cadiz, I'm leaning more towards Cadiz for this one, but at the same time, their star player, Alex Fernandez, he is available, but he has only just been in training for the last couple of days, so he's not expected to start. So these two teams both kind of new look 11s based on compared to what the managers probably wanted to put out. But yeah, I'm leaning more towards Cadiz because they've got the momentum, whereas Osasuna have just had this massive blow this week.
And right across Europe, Euan, every single side that comes up and been promoted and they've normally have 3 months to build up and the fans get all ready. How close are we to actually having some fans in grounds?
Yeah, not so close in Spain. I'm afraid it looks like when we do get fans back, it'll be more like 30%, not like the sort of 10% we've seen in some countries. So they're holding off just now. Cases are on the rise in Spain, so they're certainly holding off, and that's a shame because Cadiz have a really good fan base. I really hope they get back in before the end of the season because lots of colour, really nice stadium down there, packed tight. They make a great atmosphere. And it's a carnival city, and when it's they have a carnival every weekend when they have a football game. So it's a shame because last season they were propelled forward a lot by their fans, and that's one of the things, I guess, with the newly promoted sides. We always talk, like you say, about the momentum when a team comes up like that. But if they're coming up and they're playing in an empty stadium without their fans, you lose some of that momentum, I think.
Well, you lose more than a little bit. I think it's a major catalyst for a side to hit the ground running because everyone's the euphoria. Everyone is like singing from the same hymn sheet. They're all rowing in the same direction. And then all of a sudden you come out. And remember, some of these fans, it will be the first time that they've actually seen their side in La Liga Primera. Martin, Cadiz, are they a side that you'd want to be with this year?
Yeah, I think they are all singing from the same hymn sheet, rowing down the same river. It's all
cliche central, isn't it?
Yeah, mixed metaphors, but yeah, it's going to be. I think it's going to be an okay season for them. Of the three teams that came up, I would argue that they're the best place to beat the drop. They've had well, they've been more active in the transfer window. They haven't spent a great deal of money, but there's fresh faces coming in. Whereas Huesca, who finished above them, haven't been quite so active. I think these could be okay. Elche are the ones that are really going to struggle for me. But yeah, I still don't particularly like the look of this game. Echo everything Euan said about Osasuna. So this one's going to be a pass from me. But it's all going on the chat. Thanks everyone for getting involved. We've got everyone viewing from Mexico to Nepal at the moment, so viewers all over the world. Thanks very much for all tuning in, and please let us know some of your picks. Please let us know if you're going to tail some of these that we're suggesting, and yeah, keep it going. Thanks, guys.
I like the way that Freddie's just put the chat up on the big screen, which is like about 400 yards away. And I don't know if he thinks I've got bionic eyes or he's given me some binoculars by the side of me to have a good look. But I appreciate the sentiment, Freddie. Thanks a lot. But it's absolutely useless. It's like having an ashtray on a motorbike. It's no good to no one. It's like a chocolate fireguard. Okay, this is a great game. I like this game, Martin. It's Valladolid at plus 195, the draw plus 230, and Sociedad at plus 165. Two La Liga Primera stalwarts.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing Real Sociedad this season. I thought they were very, very attractive on the eye last time around with Oyarzábal, with Mikel Merino. They just look good going forwards. Obviously, Odegaard's gone back now to Real Madrid, but they've more than compensated for that with the signing of David Silva, who could be, you know, that's a real coup for them. Snatched him from under the noses of Lazio. Everyone thought he was going to Serie A, and now they've brought him back. And what a fantastic signing that is. Guardiola was desperate to keep him at Man City. He was still turning it on in the Premier League every time he was called upon, banging in free kicks. Creativity's still there. I think he'll be a really, really good player for Real Sociedad this season. And yeah, I'm expecting them to have a very good campaign. Sadly, he's got coronavirus, so he's not going to play in this game. He's gonna miss out, which I guess could deflate them a little bit. If he was starting, I think there would be a real good feel factor there, and I would bet on them to win this game. As it stands, I'm a bit unsure. I posed Valladolid a few times last season, and they kept proving me wrong. A lot more resolute at the back than I expected them to be. So I'm going to tread with caution around them in the early weeks of the season and slide on past this one too.
Okay, you just slide on by. Euan, do you like either of these sides, Valladolid and Sociedad? I think both teams get on the score sheet.
Yeah, I do like Real Valladolid. I echo what Martin said there about David Silva. Really looking forward to him, but he's not there this weekend. And Real Sociedad might struggle to put a team out. At my last count, it's 10 players in the first team squad that they're missing. They've had a coronavirus outbreak there in the squad, a few injuries as well to both the starting fullbacks. So a really weakened Real Sociedad side. And Valladolid, on the other hand, I quite like the look of them. You know, I mentioned the fullbacks there. They're out for Real Sociedad. Real Valladolid's strength is their wingers. I spoke earlier about how Eibar lost Oriana, one of my favourite players in the Liga. That's because he's gone to Valladolid, and I expect him to exploit those young guys filling in at fullback. And then, on the other hand, you've got Real Valladolid. Last season, we quite liked them for getting a clean sheet. They had a really good defence for where they were in the table, but they've lost. Well, they've not lost, but one of the centre-backs, Salisu, has gone to Southampton. The other starting centre-back from last year, Kiko Olivas, he's out injured for this one. So you're going to have a brand new centre-back pairing at Valladolid. So the factors, injuries and absences in defence for both of these teams Yeah, like you say, I really fancy this one for both teams scoring, for getting a few goals in this one. And I kind of think Valladolid might take advantage of the fact that Real Sociedad just are so below strength for this one.
Yeah, I can see a little bit of the chat with my bionic eye. And Joseph Gomez, you wasn't wanting to be listening to you and tell you that Sociedad have got 10 players out. They've got injuries as well, because up plus 165, you thought it was too easy. Just reverse out of that one, my lad, and you think again. Now let's go on to Alaves at plus 190. There's plenty of value around in week one this week if you can get the right side of it. Draw plus 230 and Betis at plus 170, Euan.
Yeah, I really like Betis for this one. Alaves, they're one of my picks to go down, to be honest with you.
Oh, okay.
The only reason they might not go down is if the new coach, Pablo Machin, gets sacked in the next few months, because he was one of the many coaches at Espanyol last year when they had a disaster, and he's so stubborn almost with his tactics. He likes to play a 3-5-2, and everywhere he's gone, he's tried to implement that. And apart from when he was at Girona, it just hasn't worked. And Alaves, they do not have the squad for a 3-5-2. This is a Basque northern team. They like to play 4-4-2, sit back, hit you on the counter. They've done that for a few years now. It's been effective, and there's just the rumblings coming out of Alaves this pre-season. It's not been good. Players struggling to adapt to this new system. On the other hand, you've got Real Betis. They've got Pellegrini in there, one of the most underrated coaches, I think, of the last decade or so. Pellegrini's going to come in there, this really talented Betis squad, set them up in a nice 4-2-3-1 system, get them playing nice, solid football. And I really like Betis to start the season with a win away from home, because Alaves, I just don't trust them. They look out of sorts for me.
There you go, Joseph Gomez. You forget your 160 with an injury-ravaged Sociedad and get yourself on plus 170 with Betis. Martin, Betis away from home, but at plus 170, it looks very, very tasty.
Yeah, I think Pellegrini's an excellent appointment for them. He obviously worked wonders at Villarreal, did a good job at Malaga in very strange circumstances, kept having his budgets cut. And we all know he was successful at Man City. He's got a point to prove now because things didn't work out for him at West Ham. But I don't really think that should be too much of a stain on his CV. Now he's going back to his well, obviously he's Chilean, but he knows Spain very well, and I think he'll do well there. They have got a good team, Real Betis. You know, they invested heavily last summer in Nabil Fekir and Borja Iglesias. They're good going forwards, and I think it will just take the right manager to get the best out of these players, and he's proven before that he's the sort of coach that can do that. He's a good man manager, gives a lot of trust to the players, and I think they'll have a good season. I think they can finish in the top half of the table. Also not so sure about Alaves. Been reading quite a few things about the formation that he loves to play. It never really seems to work when a manager tries to shoehorn a strange formation like that into a team that's not cut out for it. Conte sometimes manages to pull it off after a bit of work when he goes into clubs. But yeah, with a smaller team like that, there could be difficulties. Certainly in the opening weeks of the season, you would expect some tough results for them. So yeah, I'm on. Well, I do quite like Real Betis to win, but just to be on the safe side, Real Betis draw no bet 1.88.
1.88 is excellent. I like Pellegrini because he goes in and he makes sure that the defence is the first place that he starts. He likes to play deep. He likes to play compact. He likes to make sure that they have cover. Organisation is everything with Pellegrini. So, I mean, I might even say to you, both teams to score no in this game. Now, if there's low-hanging fruit this week, we are certainly going to go to it, and I'm going to come to you first, Euan. It's Villarreal at minus 190, the draw at plus 320, and Huesca at plus 550, which should be plus 1,000 in my book.
Yeah, I'm all in on this one. This is the biggest mismatch of opening weekend for me. Villarreal, the big debate just now in Spain is, can they make the top four? It's going to be tough with Atletico and Sevilla there, but I think they're definitely set up to finish at least fifth again. They finished fifth last season, went out and got a new coach, Unai Emery, coming in for Javi Calleja, and I think this is a good appointment. I think they got to fifth in spite of Calleja last season rather than because of him. And then they've gone out and improved the squad. They went and had daylight robbery down the road at Valencia by taking their two starting central midfielders, Dani Parejo and Francis Coquelin. They got them both for hardly anything. So that's going to be Villarreal's central midfield now. And how perfect is that? Not only are you getting two quality central midfielders, but They spent the last few years playing together. They know each other perfectly. So I really like Villarreal. They've gone out and got Kubo, the Japanese teenage winger, as well, to add to the players they already had: Gerard Moreno, Paco Alcacer, Samuel Chukwueze. Don't forget Moy Gomez as well. He's often overlooked. So I really fancy Villarreal to go out and just destroy Huesca, to be honest. Huesca, I think they're going to build a good squad. They're building a decent thing there, but they had a lot of loan players when they got promotion last season, and they've had to go back to their parent club, so they're still building their squad. They're another one of these teams that isn't quite ready for opening weekend. I really like Villarreal in this one.
Just a straight at minus 190, because I quite like them to give these a hide in at maybe minus 1.5 on the Asian or even the European. Just make sure they win by 2 clear goals. Would you go that way?
Yeah, I'm going to go actually for Villarreal to win both halves. I think there's good value there. I mean,
yeah, we like that.
I mean, I think first game of the season, you're playing a weaker team. They're going to go out and absolutely try and score from the first minute and put on a bit of a show. No fans, but put on a bit of a show for the fans watching at home. So we'll get to it later. But one of my picks for this week, one of my favourite picks, is Villarreal both halves.
There you go. Now we've got Craig H saying, "Where's Natalie? Have you been living in a cave?" Natalie runs the joint now. She ain't going to be sitting in here talking to the likes of you and I. She does everything. She's the editor-in-chief, video, articles, SEO. She does the lot. That's why we're doing so well in my book. Okay, Martin, Euan mentioned Coquelin. Do you know all about Coquelin from your Arsenal days?
Yeah, he was good for about a month when he came back from.
He was still learning, wasn't he? He was still learning.
We sent him out on loan a few times. It didn't quite work out for him, and then suddenly he ended up in the first team, and he was a world beater for a short period of time, and then didn't quite happen for him. We actually managed to offload quite a few unwanted players to Valencia's direction. Sent them Gabriel Paulista as well, who for me is a terrible defender. So done quite well out of Valencia over the past few years. He has been okay. Coquelin for Valencia. He had a bit of a scuffle with some Arsenal players when we beat them in the Europa League. Is
he not at Villarreal now?
Yeah, he's just moved. Moved this summer, but that's why I'm.
You was frying me. I was thinking it's week 1, Martin. It's week 1.
So he's gone along with Dani Parejo. It's a fire sale at Valencia this summer. They put virtually their whole squad up for sale. Ferran Torres has gone to Man City. Rodrigo's gone to Leeds. We'll come on to Valencia anyway, but I think Villarreal have got a very good team. Obviously, Bruno Soriano and Santi Cazorla are gone now, the 2 veterans that were really talented for the past couple of seasons. But Dani Parejo and Francis Coquelin are a good, solid replacement for them. I'm more fascinated by what Emery's going to do as an Arsenal fan. Obviously won back-to-back Europa Leagues during his time at Sevilla, came with a very high reputation. Didn't very work out for him at PSG, really. Started well at Arsenal, and then it all just fell apart. Problem with him was couldn't communicate with the players. That's not going to be an issue for him back in Spain. So it'd be really interesting to see if he can rebuild his reputation. I think he's got very good players at his disposal. Can't work out whether they're going to be the sort of team that just go for it and win loads of games 4-3 like he did at Sevilla, or if it's going to be the turgid brand of football that we saw at Arsenal last season. That's why I'm going to go with under 4.5 goals in this game. I think they can get the job done because they've got enough talent going forward in Moreno and Alcacer. But I'm just not sure they're going to absolutely blow the opposition away in this game. I think they'll get the job done. Happily take 4-0 to Villarreal. I'm going for Villarreal and under 4.5 goals against newly promoted Huesca at odds of 1.85.
1.85, which is minus 120. Now, Pragyan, you keep asking whether we're going to have a parlay of La Liga and Premier League. Be patient, man. Because at the end, yes, I will give you one from each. And then next week, when we have all 4 leagues back, then we will look to do what we did before, which was 2 from each. But yes, you will get your parlay. Okay, but if you watch the videos, you'll know which our banker was from the Premier League. We'll give you our banker, and you could use your own initiative and put them together. I'm going to come to you, Martin. It's the last game. And by the way, I like Villarreal at minus 1.5. And I think Sean Mack just said that it's at plus 101, plus 100. So for me, I absolutely love that. I think they win by 2 clear goals that you can go and pick up. Valencia at plus 110. A lot of people think that they're really going to struggle this year, and a big side like Valencia could be in the relegation battle. Draw at plus 250 and Levante at plus 280. Martin.
Yeah, I think I don't think they're going to quite be in the relegation battle, but I think they're really going to struggle.
I think they might be like Schalke of the Bundesliga. One of them's like, oh, they're too good to go down. Werder Bremen, and then they just maybe scrape by when they have to like put it in late on in the season.
Yeah, I could certainly see that happening. They put the whole squad up for sale, apart from Gaia.
That always makes you feel great, doesn't it?
Yeah, that doesn't instill much confidence in the players at all, does it? And yeah, it's pretty devastating to see some of your most talented teammates leave and know that they're not going to be replaced. You know, Parejo was their creative spark in the middle of the park. Rodrigo's been their main striker for a few years. You know, this is a team that finished in the top 4 twice and then inexplicably all just fell apart from them. Sacked their manager at the start of last season, despite having just won Copa del Rey. Finished 9th, had a dreadful end to the campaign. Sacked their manager, sporting director resigned. Suddenly they say that, you know, COVID's impacted their finances and they're putting everyone up for sale. But I don't understand that, because everyone's in the same boat. You know, everyone's affected by this. They should just try and see it through. Instead, they're selling all their good players. And the ones that left aren't really going to be full of much confidence. So I can see them struggling. And it's really interesting to see how Levante play against them, because it's a local derby and they have the opportunity now to prove that they're the best team in the city. They were pretty good after the restart last season, picked up some good results, very good going forward at home, but they were quite stubborn at the back when they played on the road as well. They got a much more settled team, so I think it's going to be really important for them to go and get a result in this game. I'm going for Levante and the draw double chance at 1.85.
Yeah, again, that's right around the -120. I think Valencia are going to be in trouble. I'll tell you a quick story about when I was scouting for Leicester City. I went pre-season to Valencia. I thought to myself, okay, make sure you know what the weather's going to be like. So I had a little look. It said rain. So I put my sheepskin on. It was the hottest day in Valencia for 40 years, and I must have lost about 2 stone in weight. I was absolutely sweating all night, and it was a 10 o'clock kickoff, Euan.
Yeah, I mean, I was in Valencia just a few weeks ago for a bit of a holiday, and I'm still sweating from the humidity there.
It's unbelievable.
It's a lovely city, lovely people, but the weather, the sort of microclimate there is, I can't cope with that. I prefer my dry, polluted air in Madrid. That's much more up my street. Well, I'll be tuning in to see what goes on in this derby. Really, this is maybe the game that I'm most excited to watch as a fan, but this is maybe the one I'm not touching as a bettor, because I'm just not sure what we're going to see from Valencia. As Martin's explained, it's basically a brand new team, a brand new squad, brand new coach. I just want to watch them for 1 or 2 games first to sort of see. They've actually had quite a good pre-season. Javi Gracia comes in as a really well-respected coach in Spain. He was in a similar situation at Malaga. We mentioned Pellegrini before. He did a good job when they were cutting the budget. And then after him came Javi Gracia, who was there with really, really small budgets with Malaga, still managed to get decent finishes in the table with them. So I think he's a perfect manager to deal with this. In his press conference earlier today, this Friday afternoon, he really hit out at the board and said he's been promised more signings. They haven't come. So I think he's the right man. I want to watch Valencia and see what they are first, especially when they play Levante, because Levante are the smaller team in the city. They've never finished above Valencia, but they always show up for the derby. Remember, the weekend after the restart from the coronavirus pause, these 2 teams played each other. Valencia got an 89th minute goal. Levante got a penalty in the 98th minute to make it 1-1. They're always up for this game, as it's often the case when it's a derby between 2 teams in the same city where one is a bit bigger than the smaller one. The little brother always fights, and that's why I just want to stay away from this one this weekend.
Yeah, you wouldn't fancy being Javi Gracia going from the circus at Watford straight into that. He just can't catch a break right now, can he?
It's another circus, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I feel sorry for him.
Yeah, he is the ringmaster, but he has got some credentials. And listen, you can use adversity for your benefit sometimes. And it's backs to the wall. It's bring up the drawbridge, and we will all fight together. But if not everyone's fighting together, then you could be wanting, because you need everybody on your side. Now, Andrew Solomon, yes, I will be putting up all the selections at the end of the show. In fact, Freddie, let's have a little look at the boys' selections, please. Here we go. So we got Euan's picks first. He's gone for Villarreal to win both halves, plus 350. That is a massive price because I fancy they'll be -1, -1.5. I think they win by 2 clear goals. Sociedad and Valladolid over 2.5 goals at plus 130. Eibar, draw no bet, -125. Remember, Euan is an Eibar fan, and Real Betis is draw no bet at -114. Martin's picks: Granada, draw no bet at -109. Villarreal under 4.5 at -120. Levante, double chance at -120. And Betis, draw no bet at -114. I will add to that. Before I get the banker from the two lads. I will add to that I definitely think that Villarreal -1.5. I'm putting that in a parlay with Arsenal to win and under 4.5 goals. And I see that you've asked about Middlesbrough Watford kicking off in the Championship tonight. Watford plus 600 favourites to go straight back up to the Premier League. I don't see him getting beat. I do not see him getting beat. So play whichever way you will. Who's your banker, please, Euan?
Yeah, I'm going for Real Betis. I like that draw no bet as well, just in case, strange things happen on opening weekend. But I really like Real Betis for all the reasons that we outlined just there.
Okay, and Martin, your banker?
Yeah, me too. Real Betis. Yeah, looks like a good one against an Alaves side that I fancy to struggle in the opening weeks of the season.
There you go. Messi and Suarez both going for Real Betis. Draw no bet at -120. Listen, have a great weekend. Euan, it's great to see you, mate. Keep your nose to the ground so that we can pick your brains in a couple of weeks. If not, well, hopefully it'll be very, very soon, because remember, you are the best of La Liga Lowdown. Listen, they're all good, but you are the best. Martin, I suppose I'll have to do with you again next week on Premier League Punters anyway.
I'm still just Martin from England.
Yeah, exactly. Martin from England. That's like some sort of dating advert. Martin from England.
I like pina coladas and getting caught in the rain.
Exactly. Low mileage, one lady owner. Now, if you like this video, then please subscribe. Press that button. Turn it grey and ring the bell. If you ring the bell, that means we can notify you. You'll never miss any content again. I press the link in the description because that will take you over to all the articles by Martin, by Dave, by Tancredi, and by Alex. Now, the NFL kicked off last night. The reigning Super Bowl champions, the Kansas City Chiefs. They started with a W. Houston Texans, they started with an L. It's not too late, by the way, to go over to sbrpicks.com/pick6, where there's up to $50,000 up for grabs. You just pick your 6 selections each week, up to 6 selections, and we'll see where you are. There's monthly prizes, so there's weekly prizes, and there's big prizes at the end. Enjoy, and we'll see you again next week. Thanks, Euan. Thanks, Martin. See you soon.